How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed Tes, Daf 39 of Masechta Nazir, friend. 39. Okay. Well, we get to Mishnah. We're going to be talking all about haircuts. Cutting the Nazir's hair and with a razor or whatever. Interesting stuff. Friends, we're going to start the Mishnah on Daf Lamed Tes, Aleph Zok, the Mishnah, Stam Naziris Lamed Yom. That anybody can be a Nazir for Purim? I was thinking maybe I'd be a Nazir for Purim. I have long hair anyways. But then I was thinking, but Nazirs don't drink wine. So I'll be a rebellious Nazir. Ho ho! That's a costume. The rebellious Nazir. Well, Hillel, I guess I gave away my costume. Okay, I'll go upon him. Stam Nazir Islam Yom. Hillel, if you were planning on being the rebellious Nazir, we could do it together. I don't care. Stam Nazir Islam Yom. The rebellious Nazir. I'm telling you, I give away stuff for free on Babylon Talmud. How many billion-dollar business ideas have I given away on Nazir? And I'm sure somebody must have taken me up. Invite me on your private jet. At least do that. I won't ask for any money. Just maybe give me a little trip on your private jet, and Purim costumes, and what else do you want me to just give you away? Let's go weiter. Stam Nazir Islam Yom. So the default Nazir experience is 30 days. Gilach o shegilchu listim so Islam Yom. So if some nudniks came and shaved him, or he shaved himself, so then so Islam Yom, it could potentially make him have to redo up to 30 days. And that what that means is when you get your haircut at the end of your Nazir experience, you have to have 30 days of growth. So if on your first day of being a Nazir, you get a haircut, so then you're going to have to just add another day to the Naziris, because from day 2, you'll have to count 30 days. But if on the last day of your Naziris, somebody, Nudnik, cuts your hair, so now you have to wait another 30 days, because you have to have 30 days of growth when you get your haircut. So again, let's read from the beginning. Stam Nazir Islam Yom. So a default Nazir is a 30-day experience. Gilach shilchu listim. If he shaved, or if Nudnik shaved him, so Salam Yom, it could make him have to add up to another 30 days. Nazir shegilach bein bezug bein besar o shesifsev kol shu chayev. A Nazir who shaved, whether with scissors or with a razor, or if he plucked epis, he's going to be chayiv. He can get makis for that. If he plucks out a hair and wait, what? I'm wearing. Cool. That was unexpected. Okay, you can get makis for that if they want him. Wow, that was ridiculously unexpected. I didn't put in my earplugs, I put in my headphones. Excuse me, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Oh man, I hope that didn't mess with anything. I don't think it should have. I really hope it didn't mess with anything. Let's go weiter. Zogt the Gemara, just to be sure, 1 sec. Okay. Zogt the Gemara Ibailu. Taka Asakasha. Haimazia Milesochas Ravi or Mileel. Frag the Gemara, does your hair grow from the bottom up, or does it get added to the top? When your hair grows, does it grow like out of your head, like from the follicle, from the bottom? Or maybe more hair gets added to the tips. The tips just keep on getting longer, but the root is the same. The by the head, it's the same. Interesting. According to that, I guess if you just keep on like shaving your head, let's say, to like, to like short but not bald, so it would just be the same hair forever. Interesting. Anyways, so they ask, does your hair grow from the bottom, or like does more hair get added to like the top of the hair? Who cares? Well, if you have a Nazir that Nudniks came and they shaved his head, but they left the shtickle, right? They used clippers. They used clippers, and they put the clippers on a high enough number that there would be epis left at the bottom. So Yomert milasachas rav v'nizirus ha shokli. So if you say, well, the hair grows from the bottom, so then that means that when you shave the hair with the clippers and you leave a shtickle at the bottom, that's new stuff. That's not that's new hair. It's not the hair that you made the Nazirus not to cut. So that is, and which means that you did cut off, you did remove the hair that you had said that you were gonna not touch. So then that is a problem. But if you say that the hair, the new growth, is at the tips of the hair, the hair that he said he was not going to cut remained uncut. What was removed was the top of the hair. So that's the shaila. So the shaila is if a nudnik shaves the hair of the Nazir and leaves something at the bottom, so is that bottom considered new hair, which means that the vowed hair, that the hair that was vowed to not be removed was removed, so that's a problem? Or do we say that no, what was removed was the new stuff, but what remains is the stuff that was meant to remain? Tashma, come here from the following. Inva, a knit. Chaya, that's a live knit. Dikoin be'ikva debinta, that is at the roots of the hair. Oh, so live knits hang out at the root of the hair. But if the hair follicle grows from the bottom, then why would the knit be at the bottom of the hair? As the hair grows, the knit should move upward. But it doesn't. So that implies that the hair must be, hair growth is added to the tip, not to the root. The olam midasachas ravi v'agav chiyusa nochis v'azil inva. So really the growth is from the bottom of the hair, from the root of the hair, but because the knit is alive, it just keeps on crawling back to the root. Tashma kamanir inva mesa, a dead knit, beresha debinta, is at the tip of the hair. Well, ve'isa gadaitich mid'el ravi be'ikva debinta boy lemekum. But if you're going to argue that the hair grows and increases from the tip, well then the knit should be at the root of the hair where it started, and all the new stuff is being added on top of that. So awesome nami der oichet mishum delezba chela shruge shriga ve'azil. Well, because the knit is dead, so it just kind of ends up sliding down to the tip of the hair follicle. Yeah, exactly. So you could say that the new growth is coming from the top, but still it just kind of slides down. All right. Tashma, like slides to the tip. Tashma, come here. Mi bloiris de goyim, from the braids of the Gentiles. The basud megadlinda rafir milasachas, that they braid the braid, but then it ends up it gets shvach, it gets weak by the part closer to the hair, which implies that it's growing from the root, and that's why that part is getting weaker. Hasumnami I did the kamtohi mishichva derafya. Well, there oichet since it's tied so tight, when you lie on it, when you go to sleep and you lie on it, so it weakens it, but it's not necessarily an indication that it grows from the root. Tashma, come in here. Miskarta de Rafi Amra milisachas. I'm sorry. Maskarta de Rafi Amra milisachas. Whatever. If you put paint on wool of a sheep, if you put some red paint on the wool of a sheep, so you're gonna notice that the hair towards the bottom, closer to the roots, is going to get weaker. Okay, the paint is going to be at the top, and the hair, the wool closer to the sheep, is going to be softer. So, which means that it must be that the hair closer to the root is the new hair, and not the hair that has paint on it. Vitnan visu kad tzovi savi dikneun chavron ikve nimhon. that if you have older people that they dye their hair, the hair of their beard, I think specifically, it becomes white at the roots, implying that the new growth is from the roots. So we see that the growth must be coming from the roots, from the bottom, and that explains why when you have discolored hair, the roots are going to be not colored, because the roots are new. That which we learned in a Braise. Nazir shegilchu listim v'shayru bo k'dei lachuf rosho li'ikaro eino soser. That if you have epis Nazir, that nudniks came and they shaved his hair, the hair of his head, but they left enough, right? Enough that you could bend the tip and it'll reach the root. They left a shtickle. They left a shtickle hair. They left a shtickle hair on his head. Eino soser. That's fine. He doesn't need to wait another 30 days. Now, but if it enters your mind that hair grows from the root, listor, you should have to wait another 30 days, because this, whatever they left was new hair, and what they removed was the stuff that he had said he was not going to cut. So it should be a problem, right? We're saying that if nudniks come and shave his hair and they leave a shtickle at the bottom, it is not soser. But if the hair grows from the roots, well then what's left over is new hair. The hair that he said he was not going to cut, that he was going to leave alone, is now on the floor somewhere. It should be soser. So kigon shegilchu acher melos. Well, this is about a situation where this incident happened after the, if it was a Stam Nazir, as we learned in the Mishnah, it's a 30-day experience. So this unfortunate interaction happened after the 30-day Nazir experience, but before, he brought his korbanos and wrapped up. Umani Rabbi Eliezer, and this is the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer to Amar Kol Achar Milos Zayin Soser, that Rabbi Eliezer says that if after Milos, if a fellow took upon himself a 30-day Nazir experience, and then on day 30, after his 30-day Nazir experience, his hair was shaved all the way down to the scalp, Zayin Soser, so he's going to have to wait 7 days before he could get a haircut and offer his korbanos, because there would have to be 7 days of growth. My time, Rabbi Eliezer. How come Rabbi Eliezer says this? Yolaf tiglachas tarim tiglachas tuma. Well, because we learn out getting a haircut when you're tahor, like if you just the nudniks came and shaved your head. We learn that out from when you get a haircut, because from when you become tummy. Matiglachas tuma shiva ab tiglachas tayra shiva. Right? If a fellow after melos, as we've learned before, if after melos a Nazir becomes tummy, so he doesn't have to do another 30 days. He just does 7 days. So just like when a fellow becomes tummy after melos, it's 7 days. So oichet, if nudnik shave his head after melos down to the scalp, so then he would have to wait 7 days, and then he could offer his korbanos and get a final haircut. And 7 days would be enough time to get lachuf roshel liikar. Right? We had said in the Braise that if the nudnik shaved his head but left enough that you could bend it over and the tip would touch the root. So the Braise had said if the nudniks left that amount, so then it's not so he doesn't have to wait anything. So that's because this is according to Rabbi Eliezer, who says that if the nudnik would shave the head all the way down to the roots, you would have to wait a day, and the rabbis assume you have to wait a week, and the rabbis assume that a week is enough time for hair to grow to this point of lachuf rosho leikaru, to be able to bend the tip to the root, and therefore If they left that amount milichatchila, if the nudniks only shaved the head but left enough to be able to bend it to the root, so then you don't have to wait a week, right? A week is just the amount of time that it takes to get to that point. But if they left that amount, so then eino soser, it's not soser, and you can go weiter with the korbanos. Very interesting stuff. Nazir shegilach bein besar bein bezug o shesifsev kolshu chayiv. Ho. So a nazir that removed hair, whether with a razor, whether with a scissors, or whether he used a dileptic, is that what the word is? Some kind of other way to remove hair. I don't know, Yepis put some kind of stuff on it and it goes away. Dileptic? Let's call it a dileptic. A hair removal thingy that isn't scissors or a razor, some kind of a lotion that you put on it and it goes away or something, some kind of chemicals. Let's call it chemicals. Chemicals. Ta'ar. The pasuk says, right? What does the pasuk say? He can't have a razor on his head. In the elatar. Okay, all I know is that a nazir can't remove his hair with a razor. Tolash, meirat, sifsef kolshu, minayin. How do I know it's oichet a problem to pluck it, or to use chemicals, or what was it? Pull it, plucking and pulling. It's like not clear to me what the difference is. Minayin, how do I know that that's also a problem? Tamalomer, kadosh hiye gadol peresar rosho. Well, it says that his hair is kodesh kadosh. You can't touch it. You can't do anything with it. I don't care if you pluck it. I don't care if you razor it. Divrei Rabbi Yoshi, that's Rabbi Yoshi's opinion. Rabbi Yonasan almost says Rabbi Yonasan ta'ar and the other ta'ar. So the pasuk says he can't use a razor. Therefore, it's limited to a razor. Meira tolash sifsev kolshu potter. If he plucked it or used some kind of chemicals, potter. V'aksiv kadoshiyeh. But what about the fact that it says that leave the hair alone? Well, that's just to say that if he uses a razor, he'll be in violation of two things. Tar lo yavar al rosho, and also kadoshiyah gadol peres al rosho. There's a lo saisi and an essay. So it's to say, so it's limited to a razor, but we learned that if you do use a razor, so you're mamish you're violating an essay and a lo saisi. Tanya idoch, we talk of a different price. Ta'ar, razor. Ainli elatar, all I know is that Nazir cannot remove hair with a razor. Talash meirat sifsa of kolshu. If a fellow plucked or used chemicals, minayin, how do I know that that's a problem? Tamalumad lo yaver al rosho. Well, it says it should not pass on his head. Meaning it says tar, don't use a razor, and also lo yaver al rosho, you shouldn't use anything on your head. Well, if we are saying that you can't use anything, you can't use a razor, you also can't use your fingers, you can't use anything, so then why do I need to single out razors? The fee fine because we don't know that at the end of his experience, when they have to shave his head, what is that with? A razor. How do we know that it's with a razor? Because it says ta'ar over here, right? We can learn out from a mitzora, right? A mitzora, a leper, a mitzora. When he becomes pure, they have to remove all of his hair, and that's with a razor. And we can't say, well, since a mitzora is with a razor, so then a nazir should be with a razor. Shein dan kal michomer lahachmer alav. Well, because a mitzora is a more stringent situation in that we have to shave all of his hair, whereas a nazir is just his head, the hair of his head. So a mitzvah is more stringent in that we remove all of his hair, and therefore it's sensible to say that it's also more stringent in that it's a razor. It has to be specifically with a razor. But maybe a nazir where it's not all of his hair, maybe you don't need a razor. So therefore the pasuk says ta'ar, even though it doesn't need to say razor, it says razor, even though it says lo yavra rosho, that don't put anything, don't remove hair in any way, but it still singles out the razor, because since the razor is extra, it's being used to teach that at the end of the experience, when we remove his hair, that is specifically with a razor. Rabbi Omer says, Rabbi Eno Tzarech. Rabbi says, look, you don't need to learn out from the extra word ta'ar. Hareyu Omer, because it says tar lo yavar al rosho ad melos. It's not that tar is extra, it's that if you read the next two words, it says don't use a razor or any other thing ad melos until the experience is over. Hatar Omer achar melos lo te tiglach asel bisar. Implying that, don't use a razor while you're a Nazir, but after you're a Nazir, after the 30-day Nazir experience, when we cut your hair, that is when you do use a razor. Don't use a razor before then, but that is when you do use a razor. Okay, I don't really understand this next line, because the way I understand it up till now is that basically the word ta'ar is not extra. It is used to teach that don't use a razor while you're a Nazir. Use it though after you're a Nazir as part of the, when you bring the korbanos to shave all your hair. Use a razor. But still, what about the fact that it says tar lo yavar al rosho, right? It says lo yavar al rosho, that from which we learned, and Rebbe agrees, that it means that it's not limited to a razor when he's a Nazir. He can't pluck it out his hair either. You can't use any of these, any way of removing hair, which means that then what do you do with the fact that ta'ar, that razor is extra, lav or olav b'shnei lav? So you'll be violating two lavs, right? You'll be violating lo yavar al rosho, right? That you can't remove your hair in any method, but also ta'ar lo yavar al rosho, that don't use a razor. So if you use a razor, you're davka violating two lavs, according to Rebbe. Okay, this is a chizne. Lilkos ba'achas. So to get makis, it's only one hair, right? So when our Mishnah had said, Nazir shegilach bein bezug bein besar or sifseif kolshu chayav. So when we say it's chayav, what does it mean? It's chayav makis, right? If a Nazir takes his fingers and puts it in his hair, and you say, hey, wait, don't do that. If you do that, we're going to whip you. And he says, I know. I'm doing it anyways. And he plucks out a hair. Son of a gun. We're going to whip him. So I'm Rav Chizde, the lilkos ba'achas, so to get makis, even if he plucks out one hair. La'akiv b'shtayim. Now, if when he gets his haircut at the end of the experience, there are two hairs left over, that's a problem. You have to make sure there aren't even two hairs left over. Listor eno soser ella birov rosho. And in order for the fellow to have to in order for him to have to make up the days, so that would only be if the majority of his hair was removed. Uvisar, and all of this is with a razor. Bisar in midiachvina lo. What do you mean? It's only a razor, but not if you use scissors or any other means. How do we know right? How do we know that it's not limited to a razor? We include any method of hair removal. No, so rather I'll say it's not limited to a razor, but anything like a razor, anything that will remove hair down to the scalp. So, whether it's plucking, whether it's a razor, whatever it might be, but the point is that the hair is being removed down to the scalp. We learn in a brisa, Nazir shetalash merit sifseif kolshu chayev ve'eno soser ella birov rosho. So a Nazir who plucks or chemically removes hair would be chayiv makis, but he would only have to make up the days if it was el birov rosho v'sari, if it's the majority of his head, and with an implement that is right, or in a way that most of his head, and in a way that removes the hair down to the scalp. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda Omer, Mishum Reb Shimon, Shem Shtei Cyrus Ma'akvizbo, Kach Shtei Cyrus Sosusbo. That just like two hairs when he gets the haircut at the end, if there are two hairs left over, it's a problem. So also, if he removes two hairs, according to Reb Shimon ben Yehuda in the name of Reb Shimon, if he removes two hairs, also he would have to make up those. He would have to, wait 30 days before he'd be able to get his haircut. Friends, that was Daf Lamed Tes of Masechta Nazir. I think it was a very interesting daf. We once again mentioned that Stam Naziris is 30 days, and we talked about the different ways of removing hair. We talked about, does hair grow from the bottom or from the top? It seems that it grows from the bottom. And then we talked about, how does hair have to be removed? We saw machlokes in Rabbi Yoshia and Rabbi Yonason. Rabbi Yoshia said that any kind of hair removal is a problem, whereas Rabbi Yonason says, no, specifically using a razor is a problem, but other methods you'd be potter. And then we talked about how we learn that the haircut post Naziris has to be with a razor. The Tanna Kama learns it out because the word razor is extra, so to teach about the haircut afterwards. Rebbe says, look, the pasuk says don't use a razor while you're a Nazir, implying that afterwards, though, when you get a haircut, it would be with a razor. Friends, that was Daf Lamed Tes of Masechta Nazir. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.